All systems are go. Liftoff in T-minus 10, 9. Start ignition sequence. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have booster ignition, and we have liftoff.
U.S. Postal Service announces giant ammo purchase.
Weapons and equipment that's specifically designed for the war zone is flooding into local police, and so when they have it, they're going to want to use it.
In fact, at least 2 parents were jailed for complaining about Common Core, causing many to draw comparisons to a fascist dictatorship's control over the nation's educational system.
If you live in the heartland of America, you have to listen up. While the nation was distracted with the Anthony Weiner drama, President Obama signed an executive order that will seize greater power over food, fiber, and energy in our vast countryside area.
Police departments across the country, including here in New Mexico, are acting too much like the military.
Have you ever noticed that the government always claims that when it does these things, it does so in the name of safety? When is the last time you heard the government give, as a basis for its behavior, personal freedom?
Just passed the law. They made it a law. It is criminal in the city of Columbia, South Carolina, to be homeless. And they are actually arresting the homeless and shipping them to encampment centers. I mean, this is stated in an article on the Huffington Post. And
amazing. Give us the headline, because that's big. If they're making them go there, that's the beginning of the camps, and is what the Emergency Centers Establishment Act says they would condition people, because at first it'll just be poor people, and then it'll be everybody. What's going on is working poor, where families are living 10 to a house, and now Agenda 21 is trying to ban that.
For the past 8 years, Dan Duvall has run a sober living center for about 30 homeless people on his 72-acre ranch. In California, a 66-year-old man was jailed Monday after being accused of illegally housing homeless people on his ranch in San Luis Obispo.
religions are coming around to Satanism. We're in the very throes of a new satanic age. The evidence is all around us. All we have to do is look at it.
Teaching Satanism in schools sounds like the stuff of horror movies, but a US court ruling on religious freedoms has enabled devil worshippers in Florida to hand out educational material about their beliefs to kids at state schools.
Public education in America often uses coloring books to teach young Americans about math, science, and current events. This year, a new book filled with games and lessons about Satanism could be distributed to students attending public school in Florida's Orange County. The 10-page Satanic Children's Big Book of Activities features characters named Annabelle and Damien who demonstrate rituals to explain Satanism. This expanding wealth of information for America's young minds was made possible after a Florida judge last month ruled that if the Orange County School District allowed Christian groups to disseminate Bibles and other materials in its schools, then other religious and atheist groups should be given the same right to distribute their material. And followers of the Antichrist seized on the decision to treat all faiths equally. In a ruling that was aimed at maintaining religious neutrality, students who may never have intended to learn about Christianity, atheism, or Satanism will now receive an introduction to all three.
What did they say the devil would do to you?
They said that if we told that the devil would come and kill our parents, and he said that we wouldn't live to be the age 9.
What do they do? They eat it, do sex first. How do they eat the baby? Alive? Is the baby alive? No, they inject it to make it go to sleep. And then after, Papa tells us to hold a knife, and then he puts his big hand on. He pushes it into the neck, cuts it, and after, but when it's upside down, so it's like he goes like that. How does the baby become upside down? So you get a string, hang it up, and it's upside down when it's asleep. Well, hang the baby upside down after they inject it? Yes. Miss Marden, the nurse, she injects it. Who is Miss Marden? Miss Marden is a nurse of our school. She does the injecting. She pretends to be kind to my mom and tries.
I was being trained to be a warlock. I was being trained with witches that were in the religion. For 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, they was training me to learn how to speak to principalities, spirits in the ground, the devil himself. You couldn't speak to the devil right away. You had to earn your right to speak to the devil. I even took a sabbatical from witchcraft, and the devil punished me, took my eyesight for 1 year. I was completely blind for 1 year, registered with the Commission of the Blind. And that was my punishment for taking 1 year off. I wanted to take off. The devil said, you want 1 year off? I'll give it to you. He took my eyesight. And that's the world I lived in. If you mess with the devil, he'll kill you, he'll kill your family. It was a fear that will grip you beyond measure, that you could not leave this religion. You could not leave Santeria, you could not leave Palamanyumbe, and you could not leave spiritualism. The ring of the people that I was with that was in this demonic world, doctors, lawyers, principals, judges, police officers, they were all into witchcraft.
Last year, one of the phrases we used was that the machinery of disarmament was getting rusty. This is still the case. You know, U.S.-Russian arms control has been a cornerstone of nuclear risk reduction for decades. But the concern is that there is no follow-on arms control agreement in sight, and we have a serious dispute regarding the Intermediate Nuclear Forces Treaty. And Russia is unlikely to negotiate on tactical nuclear weapons, of which there are many thousands, and that is a U.S. objective. On the technical end of things, we still live with very short launch times of existing weapons and large warhead stockpiles. On the political end, we have some deeply disturbing nuclear rhetoric from Russia. What does all this mean? Well, if U.S.-Russia nuclear arms control is a cornerstone, that means we're even further from multilateral arms control. The Comprehensive Test Ban Treaty is not very much closer to coming into force. We negotiated that almost 20 years ago. On the nuclear end, an agreement to stop fissile material production for nuclear weapons is no closer than when I used to work on the issue 25 years ago in the government. Nuclear modernization programs continue. China, Pakistan, India, and North Korea are all increasing their nuclear arsenals, making more weapons. And the U.S. and Russia, as Lawrence mentioned, are modernizing their arsenals. The recent North Korean test is a sober reminder of the dangers of nuclear weapons proliferation. And although North Korea is one of the most isolated regimes in the world, we will have to find a way with our allies and with Russia and China to reduce nuclear risks in Northeast Asia in a lasting way.
And we have Ambassador Pickering and Dr. Krause here to reveal the 2016 clock. Go ahead, please.
Both Russia and the United States are now in the process of rebuilding their Cold War nuclear arsenals. The most dangerous aspect comes from the danger that it will provoke somehow an accidental nuclear war. Russia is the only nation capable of turning the United States into radioactive ash. The thing that most concerned me, though, is their comment about using their tactical nuclear weapons for nuclear war fighting. So the danger of a nuclear catastrophe today, in my judgment, is greater than it was during the Cold War.
In the 1980s, a leader of the United States and a leader in the Soviet Union who managed to agree that we should reduce nuclear armaments. Now, what has happened? We have a world awash in change. There is nowhere you can look and say there's stable prosperity and everything's going great. It's a terrible mess. Well, with Russia, I think they need to feel that their adventurism is not going to pay off. And we can easily put those points in process. The same with China. I have worked with China, Bill has worked with China, it's doable. And China has the problem of, on one side of it, it has a rather erratic leader with nuclear weapons in North Korea. China is upset about that, I'm sure of that. And on the other end of China is Pakistan, building its nuclear arsenal.
And everybody is told, be optimistic. Don't tell people about something if it's bad. Well, blowing up the world is pretty bad. Einstein did say everything has changed except the way we think. We got to wake up, we got to face the apocalypse and prevent it by seeing it and taking concrete steps, one after the other, till finally we can have a world which is not under this mushroom cloud of disaster. Thank you.